Democratic presidential candidate Robert F. Kennedy Jr. testified yesterday before the House Republican-led so-called weaponization committee on the issue.
It's incredible.
On the issue of censorship.
And going back to one of the earlier segments in the show, God forbid this lunatic decides to run as a third party and the damage that that would do. This is a very dangerous guy with a very storied name that is casting a dark shadow over it.
The Kennedy family has gone to the Bidens and let them know they do not support his candidacy, and they understand that it is being cynically used. You know, the Kennedys have had a lot of tragedies over the years, but I can't think of any greater blemish than what he's doing out there. And I think he's not well. I mean, I think there's something, you know, you can explain all you want, but for him to say, throw out the controversy he throws on this latest anti-Semitic trope, I think he's fallen and he can't get up. And I think there's something very wrong with Bobby Kennedy Jr.
The hearing was often very contentious between Kennedy and the Democrats on the committee, who called him a menace to society, who did not deserve the platform Republicans gave him.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, binaries and non, it is your boy, Swervin of Swervin Media. Hope you're having a fine day today. In today's video, we're going to be taking a look at some of the reactions. Number one, of how the media treating RFK, and also the Democrats in the hearing that featured RFK Jr., where there were just nothing but attacks. They tried to censor the meeting about censorship, and how they just always do these like, oh, his family doesn't agree with him, he is sick, he is a crazy person. They always try to frame people in such a way that don't align with their ideologies as crazy conspiracy theorists, as not right in the head, not well. And they really try to get those feelings out to the people as just like, oh, I don't want to like that guy, because if I like that guy, then I might be crazy, which is just disgusting. Horrible behavior by these people. As you just saw in those clips right there, that was how the, MSNBC responded to it. But next we're going to get into some of the back and forth between the Democrats and RFK during yesterday's hearing.
Recognize.
Mr. Chairman, before that, I have a document I'd like to enter into the record, a Washington Post article of July 23rd, which lists the misstatements of facts in the preliminary injunction in the Missouri v. Biden case that we've been talking about.
And for what paper? What publication?
I said the Washington Post.
Okay.
Thank you.
Without objection. Gentleman from New York's recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Sauer, welcome back to the committee. It's great to see you again. You're becoming a mainstay on the committee, and I do hope that you continue to update us on your case now that it has been stayed and will not be implemented as it goes through the appeals process. I'd like to quickly play a short video, if we could.
COVID-19 is targeted to attack Caucasians and Black people. The people who are most immune are Ashkenazi Jews and Chinese.
Mr. Kennedy, I have a simple question for you. As an early victim of COVID, I actually got it March 10th, 2020. And my question to you is whether you think I should be worried about my genetics as an Ashkenazi Jew because I did contract COVID.
No, not at all. And that statement that you saw there is a truncated version of a larger statement.
No, I understand. You issued
where I was describing. I
understand. Hold on. I
was describing
now going on. You're claiming. Yeah.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman, we respectfully requested that you rescind Mr. Kennedy's invitation to appear here due to his repeated and very recent statements that spread dangerous anti-Semitic and anti-Asian conspiracy theories and attempted to move into executive session because House rules prohibit public testimony that degrades or defames people. His reckless rhetoric helped fuel anti-Semitic incidents, which for the record are at the highest level in the United States since 1970. They have nearly tripled in the last 6 years. Since you gave Mr. Kennedy a megaphone today, I want to give him a chance to correct his statements and prepare some of the harm that he's helped cause. Mr. Kennedy, you're well-educated, so yes or no, please. Are you aware that for centuries Jews have been scapegoated and blamed for causing illnesses like Black Plague and more recently COVID?
And those are known as blood libel, and they are one of the worst and most disturbing parts of human history.
Good. I'm glad to know that. Of course, that you acknowledge that. Of course, it's true and well documented that this pernicious form of anti-Semitism led to centuries of discrimination, even horrific pogroms and massacres, and it still fuels deadly violence today. Yet last week, you floated a baseless conspiracy theory that the coronavirus was bioengineered to target Caucasians and Black people, but to spare Ashkenazi Jews and Chinese people. Mr. Kennedy, your bizarre, unproven claim echoes that same historic slander of labeling Jews and Chinese people as a race, and that Jews, and in this case Chinese people, somehow managed to avoid a deadly illness that targets other groups for death. You do see that, yes or no?
You're misstating.
No.
You are.
I quoted what you said earlier, and it is directly what you said. So just ask. Yes.
I was describing an NIH-funded study.
No. You didn't cite.
I was describing an NIH-funded study by Cleveland Clinic.
Reclaiming my time. You did not. Reclaiming.
Published in USC Medical, which is
mine. The time is mine. I'm reclaiming it. Please ask the witness to stop talking.
You asked me a question.
Allow
me to answer my question.
Mr. Chairman, I'd like about 10 seconds
The
back.
time belongs.
You're slandering me.
Time belongs.
Directly.
Time belongs.
You're saying it's dishonest.
Time belongs to the gentlelady from
Florida.
Florida.
And myself.
Mr.
Time belongs to the gentlelady from Florida.
I'd like 15 seconds back.
We will be happy to give you that.
Thank you so much. You did not cite any study like you are citing here now during that conversation. You referenced no study at all. You simply labeled Jews and Chinese people as a race, and you also said that somehow they managed to avoid a deadly illness that targets other groups for death. You don't see that? You're trying to rewrite history here. A few months ago, Mr. Kennedy, you compared COVID public health policies to barbaric murderous tactics of Nazi Germany, saying that Jewish people in Nazi Germany had more freedom than Americans facing COVID health restrictions. In hindsight, Mr. Kennedy, do you reject this absurd and deeply hurtful and harmful comparison, or do you still stand by it?
Congressman, what you are saying is a lie.
That you said it.
No, I did not. I never continued.
Okay.
I never, ever.
Mr. Chairman, I'm here to
COVID
to the record when Mr. Kennedy said that. I reclaim my time. In discussing COVID public health measures, you made light of the genocide against Jewish people by saying, and I quote, "Even Hitler's Germany, you could cross the Alps to Switzerland. You could hide in an attic like Anne Frank did." Mr. Kennedy, do you think it was easy for Jewish people to escape systematic slaughter of Nazis, yes or no?
Absolutely not.
Okay, good. Mr. Kennedy, do you think it was just as hard to wear a mask during COVID as it was to hide under floorboards or false walls so you weren't murdered or dragged to a concentration camp? Yes or no?
Excuse me?
That's a question, yes or no?
I didn't hear your question.
Okay. I said, do you think it was just as hard to wear a mask during COVID as it was to hide under floorboards or false walls so you weren't murdered or dragged to a concentration camp?
Of course not. That's ridiculous.
That's a comparison that you made.
I did not make that comparison.
Were the measures taken to contain the spread and fatalities related to COVID in any way at all comparable to the murder of 6 million Jews, yes or no?
Absolutely not.
Okay.
I want to thank our witnesses for being here today. We appreciate the work you're doing to defend the First Amendment, and thank you for just very compelling answers and compelling testimony and the work you've done and how important this is for the country. I mean, if we don't have a First Amendment, it's just, I'm frightened by where we go.
May I, Mr. Chair?
You may not.
I just want to respond.
Mr. Chair,
I don't think
time is out. We're done.
I haven't adjourned the hearing, and I don't think you're the chair.
Mr. Chair,
Chairman's discretion.
You know it's your discretion.
Let Mr. Kennedy.
He has had so much additional time.
Well, I think everyone's had time.
Why? Why are you doing that specifically for him?
Because
I just want to explain.
I'm sure there was
super PAC.
I'm sure the Democratic witness
places
will be as short as he possibly can.
No. Are you going to allow our witness to just give another piece?
No, let him address the defamatory comment that was made about him that's untrue.
That was not defamatory. That is a legal definition that was not met.
I want to acknowledge information about the super PAC that you mentioned.
Go ahead.
I've just been told that super PAC is connected to somebody that we have a connection to. It's not a super PAC that I've endorsed, and it's not one, as I said, that I've ever heard of.
Thank the gentleman for that statement, and I thank you for your testimony. The committee is now adjourned.
And as you just saw from those videos, once again, the Democrats go out of their way to look like they're just power-hungry, tyrannical psychos. It always seems like they're pushing for something that gives the power structure more power, that is for more censorship, that is for less people having ideas and more them putting their ideas down our throats. Every time it's like that. You rarely ever see a Democrat hold any positions of like really free speech, or just a person being able to think their own thoughts or have a different thought from theirs. They think it's criminal, conspiracy theorists, anti-Semitic. They throw all those big words, those buzzwords at people, so they attach. And so when people are like, oh, that person is anti-Semitic, that's what they said, so I can't like that person. And they know that works for them. But if people were to really sit down and watch these things, they could see that, dude, what are the Democrats doing? I thought they were the party for free speech. I thought they were against war. I thought they were about truth. And this whole thing has been flipped upside down. It is fucking crazy. And Debbie Wasserman's whole thing, they don't believe he's a true anti-Semitic. They know he doesn't hate Jewish people. That's how crazy they are. Like, these are the people who are writing laws, leading our country, people who have been voted in, and this is how they behave. They are in no sense of anything at all fighting for the people. When you see them do that kind of shit, who are they in favor for? It's definitely not the populace. I mean, I wish they cared about the populace as much as they care about anti-Semitic. It's just like, dude, nothing about Kennedy is anti-Semitic at all. And just the fact that that's what they ran with the whole time just proves that they don't have shit to say. They just call him a conspiracy theorist, call him anti-Semitic, and that's all their whole game is, dude. They can never stand on their own ideals. They never have any good shit to say. All they ever do is just say anti-Semitic, conspiracy theorist, chewing on, racist, blah, blah, blah. It's just like, you guys don't have shit. And I don't understand how these people are the ones who are in these positions. And if we've ever needed a bigger wake-up call, that we need a huge fucking change in this country, I think it's this shit right here. This is embarrassing. Debbie Wasserman Schultz should be embarrassed of herself. And didn't she get caught in 2016 doing some shit that, like, fucking, she's like the reason that Bernie didn't fucking get like, he lost to Hillary because she, like, wouldn't put him up on any kind of Democratic stages and shit. So she's a fucking shyster herself. Anyways, we're gonna end this video with Kennedy talking about how they were trying to censor the hearing on censorship. It's pretty powerful. But yeah, that'll be it for today. Please like and subscribe. Peace.
This is a letter that many of you signed. Many of my fellow Democrats. I've spent my life in this party. I've devoted my life to the values of this party. 102 people signed this. This itself is evidence of the problem that this hearing was convened to address. This is an attempt to censor a censorship hearing. The charges in this, and by the way, censorship is antithetical to our party. It was appalling to my father, to my uncle, to FDR, Harry Truman, to Thomas Jefferson, as the chairman referred to. It is the basis for democracy. It sets us apart from all of the previous forms of government. We need to be able to talk